What if I told you that the single word you use to praise a child could destroy their potential forever? What if the way you think about failure is literally rewiring your brain to avoid the very challenges that would make you extraordinary? And what if everything you believe about talent, intelligence, and success is not just wrong, but actively sabotaging your growth? Right now, as you're listening to this, your brain is operating under one of two fundamental belief systems. One system will keep you trapped in mediocrity, always playing it safe, always wondering what if. The other system will transform every failure into fuel, every setback into a setup for a comeback, and turn you into someone who thrives on challenges that make others quit. The difference between these two systems comes down to one word. One simple concept that Harvard researcher Carol Dweck spent decades studying, and what she discovered will change how you see yourself forever. Today, we're diving deep into Mindset, The New Psychology of Success, by Carol S. Dweck, a book that doesn't just give you information, it gives you a completely new operating system for your brain. Dr. Dweck, a world-renowned Stanford psychologist, has spent over 30 years researching what separates those who achieve extraordinary success from those who remain stuck. This isn't about positive thinking or motivation. This is about the fundamental beliefs that shape every decision you make, every risk you take, and every goal you pursue. By the end of our time together, you won't just understand these concepts, you'll have rewired the very way your mind processes challenges, criticism, and growth. In the next hour, we are not just going to read a book. We're going to deconstruct the very operating system running your life and install a new one. Let's begin the upgrade. Here's our journey through transformation. Chapter 1 will reveal the two mindsets that determine whether you see challenges as threats or opportunities. Chapter 2 takes us inside these mindsets to show you exactly how they operate in your daily life. Chapter 3 destroys the myths about talent and shows you what really drives achievement. Chapter 4 explores how champion athletes think differently about winning and losing. Chapter 5 reveals the mindset secrets of the world's most successful leaders. Chapter 6 shows how your mindset affects every relationship you have. Chapter 7 uncovers where these mindsets come from and how they're passed down. Finally, Chapter 8 gives you a complete workshop for transforming your mindset forever. Let's go on a journey, one chapter at a time. Chapter 1, The Mindsets. Here's a question that might make you uncomfortable. Do you believe your intelligence is something you're born with, or something you can develop? Your answer to this question predicts more about your future success than your IQ, your background, or even your current skills. Carol Dweck discovered that people fall into one of two camps. Those with a fixed mindset believe that their abilities, intelligence, and talents are fixed traits. They think, I'm either smart or I'm not. I'm either good at this or I'm not. Then there are those with a growth mindset who believe that abilities can be developed through dedication, it's hard work, and learning from failure. Think about this. If you believe your intelligence is fixed, what happens when you encounter a challenge? Your brain immediately goes into threat mode. The challenge becomes a test of your worth. If you fail, it means you're not smart enough. So what do? You avoid the challenge. You stick to what you know you can do well. But if you believe intelligence can be developed, that same challenge becomes an opportunity. Failure doesn't mean you're not smart. It means you're not smart yet. That tiny word "yet" changes everything. Consider two students facing a difficult math problem. The fixed mindset student thinks, I'm not a math person, and gives up. The growth mindset student thinks, I don't understand this yet, and keeps trying. Guess which one eventually masters mathematics? Here's your first activation step. For the next 24 hours, every time you catch yourself saying, I can't do this, or I'm not good at that, add the word "yet" to the end. I can't do this yet. I'm not good at that yet. Feel how that simple addition changes your entire relationship with the challenge? But here's what's really fascinating, and this might shock you. Praise can actually push someone toward a fixed mindset. When you tell a child you're so smart, after they solve a problem, you're inadvertently teaching them that their intelligence is the reason for their success. So what happens when they face a harder problem they can't solve? They think they're not smart anymore. Chapter 2. Inside the mindsets. Let's go deeper. What's actually happening in your brain when you operate from each mindset? The differences are more profound than you might imagine. When someone with a fixed mindset faces a setback, their brain lights up in areas associated with threat detection. They're literally experiencing the failure as a personal attack on their identity. Their internal voice says things like, "I knew I wasn't cut out for this," or "This proves I don't have what it takes." But watch what happens in a growth mindset brain. When facing that same setback, different neural pathways activators associated with learning and attention, their internal voice says, "What can I learn from this?" Or "What strategy should I try next?" This isn't just philosophy. This is neuroscience. Your beliefs about your abilities literally reshape your brain's response to challenges. Let me paint you a picture of how this plays out in real life. Imagine two entrepreneurs launching their first businesses. Both businesses fail within the first year. The fixed mindset entrepreneur concludes, "I'm not cut out to be an entrepreneur," and returns to their corporate job. The growth mindset entrepreneur asks, "What did this teach me about building a business?" Starts planning their next venture. One sees failure as a period. The other sees it as a comma. Here's a powerful thought experiment. Think about an area of your life where you've been stuck or avoiding growth. Now honestly ask yourself, have you been approaching this area with a fixed or growth mindset? What would change if you shifted your perspective? The truth is, most of us are not purely one mindset or the other. We're a mixture, and our mindsets can change depending on the situation. You might have a growth mindset about your career, but a fixed mindset about your athletic abilities. The key is becoming aware of when you slip into fixed mindset thinking. Chapter 3. The truth about ability and accomplishment. Now we're going to shatter some myths that might be holding you back. Society tells us that great achievement comes from great talent. We celebrate natural athletes, born leaders, and gifted artists. But what if this entire narrative is not just wrong, but destructive? Dweck's research reveals something extraordinary. Effort creates ability. The people we think of as naturally talented often worked incredibly hard to develop their skills, but we only see the end result. We don't see the thousands of hours of practice, the failures, the coaching, the incremental improvements. Consider Mozart, often held up as the ultimate example of natural genius. But dig deeper into his story and you'll find that he had been composing for over 10 years before he created his first masterpiece. His father was his teacher from age 3. His natural talent was actually the result of intensive, early training combined with a growth mindset approach to learning. Here's what's really happening when we label someone as naturally talented. We're robbing them of credit for their hard work, and we're giving ourselves an excuse not to try. It's easier to say I could never do that because I don't have the talent than to admit I could probably do that if I were willing to put in the work. But here's the most damaging part of the talent myth. It teaches us that effort is a sign of inadequacy. If you're really good at something, it should come easily, right? Wrong. This belief causes people to hide their effort, avoid challenges that might require struggle, and give up when things get difficult. The growth mindset flips this completely. Effort becomes the path to mastery. Struggle becomes a sign that you're growing. Challenge becomes an opportunity to prove to yourself what you're capable of becoming. Think about an area where you've always believed you just don't have the talent. What would happen if you approached that area with the belief that talent is created through effort? What small step could you take today to start building that ability? Chapter 4. Sports. The mindset of a champion. Athletes provide some of the most powerful examples of mindset in action, because sports strip away everything except mental approach and physical execution. The difference between a champion and someone who falls short often comes down to how they think about setbacks. Take Michael Jordan, arguably the greatest basketball player of all time. He was cut from his high school basketball team. Fixed mindset would have said, "I guess I'm not good enough for basketball." Instead, Jordan used that rejection as fuel. He saw it not as evidence of his limitations, but as information about what he needed to work on. Or consider Serena Williams, who has faced more adversity and criticism than almost any athlete in history. Every loss, every negative comment, every doubt became raw material for improvement. Her mindset wasn't, "I am great." It was, "I can become greater." But here's what's fascinating. The mindset difference shows up most clearly not in victory, but in defeat. Fixed mindset athletes make excuses, blame others, or give up after losses. Growth mindset athletes see losses as learning opportunities and comeback fuel. Dweck studied athletes at every level and found that those with growth mindsets consistently outperformed their fixed mindset counterparts, even when starting with less natural ability. Why? Because they were willing to face their weaknesses, learn from coaches, and continue improving when others plateaued. Here's your activation step. Think about a recent failure or setback in your life. Write down 3 specific things you learned from that experience, and write down 1 action you can take based on those lessons. Just transform a failure into growth fuel. The most successful athletes don't just practice harder, they practice smarter. They actively seek out their weaknesses instead of avoiding them. They view criticism as valuable data, not personal attacks. They understand that talent might get you started, but mindset determines how far you go. Chapter 5. Business, Mindset, and Leadership. In the business world, mindset doesn't just affect individual performance. It shapes entire corporate cultures and determines which companies thrive or die. Dweck studied companies led by fixed mindset versus growth mindset leaders, and the differences were stark. Fixed mindset leaders surround themselves with people who make them look good. They avoid risks that might expose their limitations. They take credit for successes and blame others for failures. Most dangerously, they create cultures where employees are afraid to take risks, admit mistakes, or propose new ideas. Growth mindset leaders do the opposite. They hire people smarter than themselves. They admit their mistakes publicly and use them as learning opportunities for the entire organization. They create cultures where failure is seen as part of the innovation process, not grounds for punishment. Consider the difference between Enron and companies like 3M or Google. Enron's leadership operated from a fixed mindset. They had to appear brilliant and infallible at all costs. This led to hiding problems, punishing dissent, and ultimately complete collapse. Meanwhile, companies with growth mindset cultures encourage experimentation, learn from failures, and continuously evolve. But this isn't just about CEOs. Your mindset affects how you approach every aspect of your career. Do you avoid projects that might challenge you? Do you get defensive when receiving feedback? Do you see your colleagues' success as a threat to your own? These are all signs of fixed mindset thinking. Growth mindset professional asks different questions. What can I learn from this project? How can this feedback help me improve? How can I help my colleagues succeed? They understand that in a knowledge economy, the ability to learn and adapt is more valuable than what you already know. Here's a powerful exercise. Identify one area of your professional life where you've been playing it safe. What would you attempt if you knew that failure would just be valuable learning experience? What small step could you take this week to stretch beyond your comfort zone? The most successful businesses of the 21st century will be those that can learn and adapt faster than their competitors. That requires leaders and employees who see change as opportunity, not threat. Chapter 6. Relationships. Mindsets in love or not. Your mindset doesn't just affect your career or hobbies, it fundamentally shapes how you approach relationships. And this might be where the fixed versus growth mindset difference is most profound and most painful. People with fixed mindsets about relationships believe that compatibility is something you either have or don't have. They think things like, if we're meant to be together, it should be easy, or the right person will accept me exactly as I am. When problems arise, they see them as evidence that the relationship is doomed. Growth mindset people approach relationships completely differently. They believe that great relationships are built, not found. They see challenges as opportunities to grow closer. They understand that love is not just a feeling, it's a skill that can be developed. Think about how this plays out practically. When a fixed mindset couple has their first big fight, they might think, maybe we're not right for each other. When a growth mindset couple has that same fight, they think, how can we learn to communicate better? The fixed mindset says, if you loved me, you'd accept my flaws. The growth mindset says, because you love me, you help me become better. The fixed mindset avoids difficult conversations. The growth mindset leans into them as opportunities for deeper connection. But here's what might surprise you. The growth mindset isn't just more effective for long-term relationships, it's also more attractive. People are drawn to partners who are committed to growing and improving, not those who insist they're perfect as they are. This applies to all relationships, not just romantic ones. Fixed mindset parents believe their children's abilities are set in stone and focus on protecting them from failure. Growth mindset parents help their children develop resilience and learning skills. Fixed mindset friends compete and judge. Growth mindset friends support and challenge each other to grow. Here's your relationship activation step. Think about a relationship in your life that's been challenging. Instead of asking, "Are we compatible?" ask, "How can we grow together?" Instead of focusing on what the other person needs to change, ask, "How can I show up better in this relationship?" The most fulfilling relationships aren't between two perfect people, they're between two people committed to growing together. Chapter 7. Parents, Teachers, and Coaches. Where do mindsets come from? This chapter might be the most important one, especially if you're a parent, teacher, or mentor. Because mindsets aren't genetic, they're learned. And the messages we send to children literally shape their beliefs about what they're capable of. Every time you praise a child by saying, "You're so smart," you're inadvertently teaching them that intelligence is fixed. They learn to derive their self-worth from being smart, which means they'll avoid challenges that might make them look less smart. But when you say you worked really hard on that, you're teaching them that effort leads to achievement. This isn't just theory. Dweck conducted hundreds of studies showing that children praised for intelligence become less resilient, less willing to take on challenges, and actually perform worse over time compared to children praised for effort and strategy. But it goes deeper than praise. The way adults respond to children's failures shapes their entire relationship with setbacks. When a child struggles with math and you say, "Don't worry, not everyone is good at math," you're teaching fixed mindset. When you say math is challenging, but you can learn it with practice, you're teaching growth mindset. Teachers with growth mindsets create classroom environments where mistakes are learning opportunities, where students support each other's growth, and where the focus is on progress, not perfection. These students consistently outperform those in fixed mindset classrooms, regardless of initial ability levels. Coaches provide some of the clearest examples. The fixed mindset coach believes their job is to identify talent and put the best players on the field. The growth mindset coach believes their job is to develop every player's potential. Guess which approach produces better teams and more resilient athletes? But here's the thing, if you're reading this and thinking about your own childhood, you might recognize ways that fixed mindset messages shaped your beliefs. The good news? Mindsets can be changed at any age. Understanding where your limiting beliefs came from is the first step to transforming them. If you're a parent, teacher, or mentor, here's your activation step. For the next week, pay attention to how you praise and correct the children in your life. Are you focusing on their identity? You're so talented? Or their process, you tried a new strategy? Are you treating their struggles as problems to be avoided or skills to be developed? The messages we send today become the internal voices that guide these children for the rest of their lives. That's both a tremendous responsibility and an incredible opportunity. Chapter 8. Changing Mindsets. A workshop. Now comes the transformation. You understand the two mindsets. You've seen how they play out in every area of life. The question is, how do you actually change from fixed to growth mindset thinking? First, recognize that this isn't an overnight switch. Most of us have a mixture of both mindsets, and they can change depending on the situation or our stress level. The goal isn't perfection, it's awareness and gradual shift. Start by identifying your fixed mindset triggers. What situations make you feel defensive, want to give up, or avoid challenges? Maybe it's public speaking. Maybe it's learning new technology. Maybe it's having difficult conversations. These triggers are your growth opportunities. When you notice fixed mindset thinking, don't judge it, just observe it. Oh, there's my fixed mindset voice saying, "I'm not cut out for this." Then consciously choose a growth mindset response. I'm not cut out for this yet, but I can learn. Practice reframing your internal dialogue. Instead of "I failed," try "I learned." Instead of "I can't do this," try "I can't do this yet." Instead of "This is too hard," try "This will help me grow." Create what Dweck calls a growth mindset plan. For your biggest challenges, identify the skills you need to develop, the people who could mentor you, the resources that could help you learn. Break down big challenges into smaller learning steps. Most importantly, start celebrating effort and strategy, not just outcomes. When you work hard on something, acknowledge that effort regardless of the result. When you try a new approach, celebrate the learning even if it doesn't work perfectly. Here's your final activation step. Choose one area of your life where you've been operating from a fixed mindset. Write down one specific action you'll take this week to approach that area with a growth mindset. It could be signing up for a class, asking for feedback, attempting something you've been avoiding, or simply changing how you talk to yourself about that challenge. Remember, the goal isn't to eliminate all struggle or failure from your life, it's to change your relationship with struggle and failure. When you truly embrace a growth mindset, challenges become exciting, feedback becomes valuable, and setbacks become setups for comebacks. We've traveled together through 8 chapters, and if you've really absorbed this material, something fundamental has shifted in how you see yourself and your potential. You've started this journey perhaps believing that your abilities were largely fixed, that talent was the main driver of success, that failure was something to be avoided. Now you understand that your brain is literally designed to grow and change throughout your entire life. You know that effort creates ability, that struggle is the price of growth, that the word yet might be the most powerful word in the English language. You've seen how mindset shapes everything: your career, your relationships, your parenting, your response to challenges. You've learned that the most successful people in every field aren't those with the most natural talent, but those with the strongest commitment to continuous growth. But here's what matters most. This isn't just information you've consumed. It's a new operating system you can install. Every challenge you face from now on is a chance to practice growth mindset thinking. Every setback is an opportunity to prove to yourself that you can learn and bounce back. Every piece of criticism is valuable data about how you can improve. The choice is yours. You can return to your old patterns of thinking, avoiding challenges, making excuses, and staying in your comfort zone. Or you can step into the growth mindset way of being, embracing challenges, learning from criticism, finding inspiration in others' success, and persisting through obstacles. This isn't about becoming perfect. It's about becoming someone who sees their imperfections as starting points, not endpoints. Someone who views their current abilities as the foundation, not the ceiling. Someone who understands that becoming is more important than being. Your transformation starts with your very next challenge. Will you approach it asking, am I good enough? Or how can I get better? Will you see it as a test of your worth or an opportunity for growth? You give up at the first sign of struggle, or lean in knowing that struggle is where growth happens? The mindset you choose will literally reshape your brain, your relationships, your career, and your life. Choose growth. Choose the belief that you can learn, adapt, and become more than you are today. Choose to add yet to your limitations and how can I learn this to your challenges. If this message resonated with you, I'd love to hear how you're applying these concepts in your life. Leave a comment sharing one area where you're committed to shifting from fixed to growth mindset. And if this video helped you see your potential differently, consider subscribing for more transformational content that challenges how you think about personal growth and success. Remember, you are not who you were yesterday, or not even who you are today. You are who you are becoming. And with a growth mindset, who you're becoming has no limits.